Freestyle Libre.
This is the matchup we all wanted. NFC supremacy. A spot in Super Bowl 60. A muff punt turns into a double-digit deficit for the Los Angeles Rams.
I mean, it has been a raucous night tonight.
Rams down 4, 31-27. Fourth down, looking end zone. He fires. It is incomplete.
The Seahawks in the driver's seat. The Seahawks win, and the Seahawks are going back to the Super Bowl. Yeah!
Teams played 3 unbelievable games this year. They split the first 2. Seattle wins the rubber match last night. And Dan, you put together a couple of plays that defined this game.
3rd and goal and 4th and goal, essentially, for the Rams to try to go win and go to the Super Bowl. I want to go to 3rd down. So if you're the Rams offense and you get 3rd down, you're really thinking about what? 2 people. Number 1, Davante Adams up top, led the NFL in touchdowns, and then Puka Nacua in the slot. Great job by Seattle understanding that. If I want to start with Davante Adams and I'm the quarterback, let's go there. Matthew Stafford peeking that way. Now, if you're the Rams, you sit there and say, well, Davante's by himself. Initially, at least, the Seahawks go, no. We're going to double team Davante Adams. He's a no. Take him out. And then we go, okay, well, I want to get the ball to Puka Nacua. Here's Puka in the slot. 1, they put Woolen on him consistently in the game, I think from the physical presence. And then 2, there's 1 and there's 2. So we've essentially double-teamed Davante, put 2 bodies to him, and then Seattle double-teams Puka Nacua. So now they're saying, well, if you're the Rams on 3rd goal, you have to beat us with a tight end, Eamon Warrick, Defensive Rookie of the Year with the size, or your real number 4 wide receiver. Advantage Seattle. That's a great understanding of in-the-moment players over plays. Now you go to 4th and goal. What do the Seattle Seahawks do? They're going to take 7 people and put them up at the line of scrimmage. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay? The Rams only have 6. So initially, there's a concern of if all those guys pressure, Matthew has to get the ball out of his hands. Now, what the Seattle Seahawks do is, and this was a theme in the game, is they wanted to play almost what we call underneath all the receivers, okay? What does that mean? Look it up top with Davante Adams once again. You can see Job, the corner, playing physical. They did all game. He's underneath on the back hip. Okay, then you go to the tight end with Witherspoon. Where is he? Underneath and on the back hip. Where's Woolen? Underneath and on the back hip. This is a phenomenal job of just situationally double teaming the back and playing underneath and on the back hip of those receivers in those critical moments. You go to 3rd down and 4th down, they double the 2 receivers, and then they play on the back hip perfectly when it comes to the proper leverage defensively.
Brett,
well,
tell us what you say.
I love the next one on the 4th down, the critical one. You're going to see the back in his position. See, he's outside the tackle's leg. He's the primary receiver here in a cut split. We call it a snag wheel. All right? That's why you're going to get a peel here by this defender. He's actually going to get doubled by the end and the peel. That's a free blitzer, but you always come off when the guy free releases. That's exactly why he ends up being doubled here. It's a great play by him.
Right, so they playing leverage intentionally down there like
100%, Dano, and you know why. We want the ball to be elevated. That's why we're going to play in such hard inside and underneath leverage, and that's all over the field. Witherspoon is, by the way, he's a little guy. He's actually physical as heck. Yeah. That's why you put him on the big body here. But this is phenomenal, and it's all coached. But schematically, the number 1 receiver should have been one-on-one on the defensive end. But because the blitzer sees it, he comes off the peel. He knows he's in trouble, and that's coaching.
Yeah, it's just a great job by Mike Macdonald's staff. They weren't great yesterday. Now, it took an outstanding offensive performance for them to not be great, but to get those 2 stops in those critical moments are absolutely enormous.
All right, so there you have it. And again, Mike Macdonald, I'm not going to necessarily draw a straight line, but look what has happened to the Ravens defense since he departed.
You can.
Pretty amazing.
And look what has happened to the Seattle Seahawks defense since he arrived there. We have 2 defense-minded coaches playing in the Super Bowl. Matthew Stafford becomes a big topic of the conversation here. And Schefter, people will wonder, is it possible that we have seen the last of Matthew Stafford after what was a great season and a heartbreaking loss last night?
I think the feeling has been that he's more likely to return. But I think anybody, when they go through a season like that, needs time to process the decision. It's become a family affair. He loves having his daughters be old enough to watch him play football. He's thriving. You see the numbers. Again, I think when you're performing at that level, the chances are you'll be back, but he's going to be taking some time here to think about his decision.
Yeah, they asked him about it right after the game. It's a tough thing for him to answer. immediately afterwards. Sean McVay seemed put off by the question being asked right after the game. I get it from both sides. I get them not liking it. I also understand why you have to ask the question one way or another. Dan, you're close to Stafford and all that. Is your expectation that he will come back? Because if he does, the Rams should be right back in the middle of things again next year.
I hope he does. I hope he does. I thought the only chance or the likeliest chance that he would not come back would be if he won MVP this year. I believe he should and will. And if they won the Super Bowl. Obviously, the Super Bowl is not going to happen. If he comes back next year, then I think they would be Super Bowl favorites. I think the interesting part about it, Greeny, is the Rams have 2 first-round picks. And at some point, you want to get your next quarterback. And so can he come back and them do that at the same time, I think is a big question.
Well, I think if you're going to, I could think of a lot worse scenarios. Look what they've done in Green Bay successfully a few different times. Draft a quarterback, let him sit behind Stafford a year or even 2. Stafford obviously still playing at a high level. Historically speaking, these guys, they talk a lot about retiring. They think about it during, the end of seasons. And then when it comes time to walk away, they want to keep playing until they know they can't.
He was
anymore.
also healthy
he obviously
this year.
Can.
Yeah, they kept him clean. He was very well protected this year. I don't think his body took the beating it has in years past.
And at the end of the day, when you look at the teams that won yesterday, and they're going on, New England and Seattle, give them all the credit in the world. They both deserve to win. But these are 2 teams that lost yesterday. They're going to be kicking themselves. We talked about Denver a little earlier in this hour. They give up on the 3 points in the first half. They hand New England their only touchdown of the game. In this case, D. Wood, the offense was brilliant for the Rams, but what was their undoing?
Yeah, it was the bugaboo that's been plaguing them all season long has been the defense and the special teams. And so much so, the Rams changed special teams coordinators during the season, and it still played a big factor in it. And when you talk about 2 teams that have obviously played within the same division, they're closely matched. It's you win games within the margins. And so for the Rams, you're going to sit back, you're going to look at this thing, you're going to be sick to your stomach knowing that our quarterbacks played flawless against this Seattle team, and he lost twice against that opponent.
It's hard to figure out what happened to their defense, Rex. The reason that people were saying they were the best team in the NFL for the first, call it 3 months of the season or something along those lines, is because they seemed so complete. They're not only were they spectacular offensively, but the defense was really good. And then somewhere along the line, it just stopped being really good.
Absolutely right, Grinny. And look, they got so much pressure early in the season with that front 4. And I don't know if it kind of weighed them down because maybe they need another, a couple more pass rush to add so they get that depth. But this defense was horrendous the last 9 weeks of the season. All right, this Ram defense. And they gave up 40% of all drives to the opponents. Ended in points. All right, so to me,
it's a very high number.
That's a huge number for what's supposed to be an elite unit. They never held up their end of the bargain, and it's unfortunate, but that's why they're going home.
The defense has not been good. There's a lot of individual talent on this defense. I think the takeaway that I have from yesterday's performance is their inability to adjust versus motion. Seattle consistently motioned to create matchups. There's multiple moments when the secondary for the Rams is running, and all of a sudden you see 2 guys looking at each other, what are we doing? And then ball gets snapped, and there's a wide open player or an open player. And so I think that's the takeaway is 3rd time you're playing an opponent, and they are consistently wearing you out with motion adjustments, and you don't have answers for it. That's the thing that's probably the biggest concern or the regret off yesterday's performance.
I see it that way as well. And very quickly, I would be remiss if I did not point out that a minute ago, Schefter was holding 2 phones. Yeah. Now he's holding one and working it like crazy. Is there anything that you would like to share? Anything we need to know?
Just little things. We have Davis Webb, the Broncos run game coordinator or pass game coordinator and quarterback coach, interviewing today for the Bills and Raiders head coaching job. And Grant Udinski, the Jaguars offensive coordinator, just pulling out of the Browns job.
Another one?
He pulled out on the Browns just now. Oh. And so he's going to be staying with Jacksonville under a new deal unless he gets the Buffalo Bills head coaching job.
And do you expect we still have 4 vacancies here? How quickly are these moving?
I would think that by the middle of the week, most, if not all, these vacancies will be filled. It's going to be quick this week. Okay. Because the Broncos lost, Davis Webb and Vance Joseph are available. The Rams lost, their candidates are available. The Browns, Bills, Cardinals, and
Raiders
all racing to get head coach hire as soon as possible.
Okay, so we
to fill
expect
their
those
staffs.
to come pretty quickly. Much more on this as we go. By the way, we have a huge Big Monday for you. We're putting the big in Big Monday for this doubleheader tonight on ESPN and the ESPN app. First, we got Cameron Boozer and number 5 Duke hosting number 23 Louisville. That's at 7 Eastern. Then number 1 Arizona will take on